March 13th, 1997. A clear Arizona night. Thousands looked up as strange lights hovered over Phoenix. Silent, massive, unexplainable. But what happened to those who got too close? Did they just see lights? Or something more? Some say they felt watched. Others lost time. Could these witnesses have been targeted? In this video, we'll dive into their chilling stories, explore the eerie aftermath, and question what really happened that night. Stick with us, what you're about to hear might change how you see the sky forever. Ready to uncover the mystery? On March 13th, 1997, the desert sky over Arizona became a stage for one of the most baffling mysteries in modern history. It was a crisp, clear evening. Stars twinkling above cities like Phoenix, Tucson, and beyond. Families were winding down, some grilling in backyards, others driving home from work. Then, around 8 p.m., it started. People began noticing strange lights, bright, amber orbs, sometimes white, moving slowly across the sky. Not one or two, but clusters arranged in patterns that didn't make sense. Was it a single massive object, or several smaller ones gliding in eerie unison? Picture this. A family in Phoenix stands on their porch, staring upward. The kids point excitedly, but the parents fall silent. The lights aren't twinkling like stars or flashing like planes. They're steady, hovering, almost deliberate. The father grabs a camcorder, hands shaking, capturing grainy footage that would later flood local news. Across the city, thousands of others are doing the same. Truck drivers pulling over, pilots squinting from cockpits, even doctors stepping out of hospitals to gawk. Reports poured in from over 300 miles, from the Nevada border to Tucson's edge. This wasn't a fleeting glimpse. It lasted hours. What makes the Phoenix lights so gripping is the sheer number of witnesses. We're talking regular people, teachers, cops, retirees, alongside professionals with sharp eyes. Commercial pilots reported objects that didn't match any known aircraft. Air traffic controllers used to tracking every blip were stumped. One controller later said the radar showed nothing. Yet there they were, visible to the naked eye, defying explanation. Some described a V-shaped formation like a boomerang the size of a football field. Others swore it was a single craft, so vast it blocked out the stars as it passed overhead. Let's pause on that for a second. Imagine you're out there, staring at something that massive, moving silently. No hum of engines, no roar of jets, just quiet. Unnatural quiet. Some witnesses said it felt like the air itself changed, like a weight pressing down. One woman, a nurse driving home, later told reporters she felt watched as the lights lingered above her car. Watched by what, though? Was it just her imagination running wild? Or could something or someone have been observing her? Stories like hers pop up again and again, and they make you wonder. Were these lights just objects in the sky, or something far stranger? The scale of it all is hard to grasp. This wasn't a single UFO sighting tucked away in a rural field. It was a spectacle over a major American city, seen by thousands, recorded on tape, and debated for decades. People didn't just see lights, they felt something. Presence. A question that wouldn't let go. And here's where it gets weirder. Not everyone saw the same thing. Some described a triangle, others a straight line of orbs. A few insisted the lights pulsed, almost like they were alive. Why the differences? Could it be tricks of the mind? Or evidence of something shifting, adapting, maybe even hiding its true form? Here's a hook to keep you thinking. If this was just a one-off event, why do so many witnesses still feel uneasy talking about it? Why do some avoid the topic altogether, like they're afraid of what might come back to them? Before we move on, let me ask, have you ever seen lights in the sky you couldn't explain? Drop it in the comments. We'd love to hear your story. So we've set the scene. A city gripped by awe and confusion, thousands of eyes locked on the unknown. But what happened to the people who didn't just see the lights, who felt them, lived them, maybe even lost something to them? Let's dive into their stories next. What did the witnesses experience that night? And could it point to something beyond our understanding? Now, let's step closer to the heart of the mystery. The Phoenix lights weren't just a spectacle in the sky. They left marks on the people who saw them. Not physical scars, at least not that we know of, but something deeper. Something that lingers in the stories of those who were there. As we sift through these accounts, one question keeps surfacing. Could some witnesses have experienced more than just a sighting? Let's explore their stories, not to claim answers, but to wonder what really happened to them that night. Imagine you're a hiker out in the desert just beyond Phoenix's city limits. It's March 13th, 1997, and you're soaking in the quiet of the night. Suddenly, those strange lights appear overhead, not just bright, but wrong somehow. You stop dead in your tracks, heart pounding. The lights hover, silent, and for a moment you feel frozen. Not cold, but stuck, like time itself is holding its breath. Hours later, you're back at your car, but something's off. You can't recall walking back. Your watch says it's later than it should be. This isn't fiction. It's the kind of story that echoes through witness reports from that night. One such account comes from a man we'll call John, a Phoenix resident who shared his experience years later on a local radio show. He was driving home when he spotted the lights, a perfect V-shape, gliding low over the horizon. He pulled over, mesmerized, and watched for what he thought was a few minutes. But when he got home, his wife was frantic. He'd been gone for over 2 hours. Where did that time go? John couldn't say. He didn't remember driving away or even getting back on the road. All he had were flashes, vivid dreams in the weeks that followed, of standing in a bright, featureless space, feeling watched. Was it stress? Exhaustion? Or could something have reached out to him that night? Then there's the story of a woman, let's call her Maria, a schoolteacher who was at a family barbecue when the lights appeared. She described them as hypnotic, almost pulling her attention like a magnet. Everyone around her was chatting, pointing, but Maria felt a hum in her chest, like a vibration she couldn't shake. Days later, she started waking up in a panic, dreaming of figures standing at the edge of her vision. Tall, indistinct, gone when she blinked. She never called it an abduction, mind you. She just said it felt like something stayed with me. Why would a simple light show leave her so rattled? Could it have been her mind playing tricks? Or was there more to those lights than met the eye? These stories aren't isolated. Across Phoenix and beyond, dozens of people reported oddities tied to that night. Missing time was a common thread, minutes or hours slipping away without explanation. Others spoke of physical sensations, tingling skin, headaches, or a sense of pressure, like the air was too thick. One man, a mechanic, said he felt scanned as the lights passed over his truck, though he couldn't explain why he chose that word. And then there were the dreams, recurring, vivid, often involving strange places or presences. Not everyone connected these to aliens or UFOs. Some chalked it up to fear or imagination. But the patterns are hard to ignore. Why so many similar stories? Could it be coincidence? Or is there a thread we're missing? Here's where it gets unsettling. Not all witnesses wanted to talk. Some clammed up when pressed, even years later. One woman, interviewed in a 1998 documentary, started to describe waking up miles from her campsite the night of the sighting, then stopped mid-sentence. "I don't want to go there," she said, her voice tight. She never spoke publicly again. What makes someone bury a story like that? Fear of ridicule? Or fear of something else? Something that might still be watching? It's enough to make you wonder. If these were just lights, why do they carry so much weight? Let's lean into that mystery for a moment. Picture yourself in their shoes, seeing something incredible, maybe terrifying, and then feeling it follow you. Days pass, but you're not quite yourself. You avoid looking at the sky. You brush it off, tell yourself it's nothing. But what if it isn't? Stories like these don't prove anything, but they raise questions that stick with you. Could the Phoenix Lights have been more than a visual phenomenon? Could they have reached into people's lives in ways we don't fully understand? Before we move on, I want to hear from you. Have you or someone you know ever felt changed after seeing something unexplained? Maybe a moment that left you questioning reality? Drop it in the comments. It's these stories that keep the mystery alive. So, we've heard from the witnesses, felt the weight of their experiences. But what happened in the days, weeks, And years after those lights vanished, how did an entire city grapple with the unknown? And why do some questions refuse to go away? Let's explore that next. The lights over Phoenix vanished into the night of March 13, 1997, but their shadow lingered. For many who witnessed them, life didn't just snap back to normal. Something shifted in their minds, their communities, maybe even their sense of reality. As we dig into the aftermath, one question looms. If these were just lights, why did they leave so many ripples? Let's explore what happened next, not to pin down answers, but to chase the mystery, because what unfolded in Phoenix raises questions that still haunt us today. Picture Phoenix in the days that followed. The city was buzzing. Local news ran grainy footage on loop. Those glowing orbs, that eerie V-shape. Radio shows fielded calls from excited witnesses, skeptics, and everyone in between. People gathered in diners, swapping stories. I saw it over my house. No, it was miles away. But beneath the chatter, something heavier was brewing. For some, the lights weren't just a cool story to tell. They were a turning point. Lives changed, quietly, in ways that weren't always easy to explain. Could a single night really shake people so deeply? Or was there more at play? Take the witnesses we mentioned earlier, like John, the driver who lost 2 hours. After that night, he became different. His family noticed he was quieter, more distracted. He'd stare at the sky sometimes, like he was waiting for something to return. He never called it fear, but his wife did. She said he stopped driving alone at night. Was it trauma from seeing something inexplicable? Maybe, but John wasn't alone. Others reported similar shifts: insomnia, unease, a nagging sense they'd brushed against something they weren't meant to. Why would a light show, even a strange one, leave people so unsettled? Then there's Maria, the schoolteacher. Her vivid dreams didn't stop. Weeks turned into months, and she started avoiding crowds, like she couldn't handle too many eyes on her. She told a friend she felt marked, though she laughed it off, saying it sounded crazy. But that word, marked, stuck. Other witnesses used it too, describing a feeling of being singled out. Not all of them, of course. Plenty of people saw the lights and moved on, chalking it up to a wild night. But for those who couldn't, the question lingers. Could something have reached into their lives, leaving traces we can't see? The community felt it too. Phoenix split into camps, those who believed they'd seen something otherworldly, and those who rolled their eyes, calling it mass hysteria. Neighbors argued at barbecues. Some witnesses became local celebrities, others pariahs. A retired pilot who swore the lights weren't any known aircraft got hate mail for speaking out. Why the divide? If it was just a misunderstanding, why did it cut so deep? It's almost like the lights exposed a fault line between those content with easy answers and those who couldn't shake the mystery. Here's where it gets stranger. Some stories never made it to the news. Whispers circulated about people who saw more than lights. Shapes, figures, or moments they wouldn't describe. One man, a construction worker, told a UFO researcher he woke up in his backyard the morning after, with no memory of leaving his bed. He never spoke again, not even to his family. Another woman claimed she saw a beam of light touch the ground near her home. Then nothing. She moved away within a year. Why stay silent? Fear of being called crazy? Or fear of something watching, waiting for them to say too much? Physical effects cropped up too, though they're harder to pin down. A handful of witnesses reported headaches, nausea, or burns on their skin in the days after. One teenager said his eyes stung for weeks, like he'd stared at the sun. Doctors found nothing unusual, but the stories kept coming. Could it have been stress, like skeptics said? Sure, but why so many similar complaints? And why did some witnesses, when pressed, admit they felt changed in ways they couldn't name? It's the kind of detail that makes you pause. What does it mean to feel changed by a moment in the sky? The bigger picture is just as murky. Phoenix became a magnet for UFO enthusiasts, but also for ridicule. National media poked fun, calling it a city of stargazers gone wild. Yet locals didn't back down. Town halls filled up with people demanding answers. Petitions circulated, asking for government transparency. Transparency about what, though? If it was nothing, why the urgency? If it was something, why the silence? The city's obsession with that night never fully faded. It's like the lights left a question mark no one could erase. Let's lean into that for a second. Imagine living in a place where thousands saw the same impossible thing, but no one agrees on what it was. Every night, you glance at the stars, wondering if they'll come back. Would you feel safe, curious, haunted? Stories from Phoenix suggest all three. Before we move on, I want to know, have you ever looked into strange events where you live? Maybe there's a local mystery waiting to be explored. Share it in the comments, it might spark something. So, we've seen how the lights reshaped lives and divided a city. But what did those in charge have to say? Governments, military? Surely they had answers, right? Let's turn to the official story next. And why it only deepened the mystery. The Phoenix lights left a city reeling, witnesses shaken, and questions piling up. Naturally, people turned to those in charge for answers. If thousands saw something extraordinary on March 13th, 1997, surely the government or military could explain it, right? But as we dive into the official responses, the mystery doesn't clear up. It thickens. Why did the explanations feel so shaky? Why did they shift over time? Let's explore what was said, what wasn't, and why so many still doubt the story they were told. In the days after the lights appeared, Phoenix was a pressure cooker of curiosity and frustration. Local officials were swamped. With calls, residents wanted to know what had invaded their skies. First, there was silence. No statements, no press conferences, just a void that let rumors flourish. Was it a secret military test? A cover-up? Something else entirely? It wasn't until weeks later that the U.S. Air Force stepped in with an answer. Flares. Specifically, they said the lights were parachute flares dropped during a training exercise by A-10 Warthog jets from Luke Air Force Base, part of a routine operation in the Barry Goldwater Range, southwest of Phoenix. Case closed. But was it? Let's break it down. Flares are bright, sure, and they can linger in the sky as they drift down. They're a plausible explanation for glowing orbs, especially at night. The military even pinpointed a time, around 10 p.m., when they said the flares were dropped. But here's where it gets tricky. Most witnesses reported seeing the lights between 8 and 9 p.m., hours earlier. Flares don't hover for that long, and they don't move in precise formations like a V-shape or a boomerang, as so many described. Could the Air Force have gotten the timing wrong? Or were they explaining a different set of lights altogether? Then there's the silence, literal silence. Witnesses across Phoenix emphasized how eerily quiet the lights were. No jet engines, no rumble, nothing. Flares, when dropped, are tied to noisy aircraft, and the A-10s aren't exactly stealthy. Pilots in the area that night, including commercial airline crews, reported no unusual military activity on their radios. One private pilot who flew near Phoenix during the event later said he saw the lights and was certain they weren't flares. Too steady, too low, too vast. Why didn't his account align with the official story? Could he have been mistaken? Or was something else in the sky? The Air Force doubled down over time, sticking to the flare explanation even as holes appeared. In July 1997, they held a press conference to demonstrate how flares look when dropped, as if to say, "See, this is what you saw." But the public wasn't buying it. Crowds at town halls booed military reps. A local councilwoman, Frances Barwood, pushed for an investigation, only to be stonewalled. She later said she received hundreds of calls from witnesses who felt dismissed. Why the resistance? If it was just a misunderstanding, why not open the books and prove it? The secrecy, or at least the perception of secrecy, fueled distrust. Skeptics had their own theories. Some said it was mass hysteria, people seeing what they wanted to see. Others pointed to optical illusions, stars, planes, or even weather phenomena playing tricks. But these ideas struggled against the sheer volume of reports. Thousands of people from all walks of life saw something. Pilots, cops, even astronomers weren't easily fooled by Venus or swamp gas. And those videos, grainy, yes, but consistent, showed lights that didn't flicker like stars or streak like meteors. Could so many be wrong in the same way, or were skeptics missing a piece of the puzzle? Here's a question that sticks. If it was flares, why the delay in saying so? Why let a city stew in confusion for weeks? And if it wasn't flares, what were they hiding? Some witnesses claimed military jets scrambled after the lights appeared, not before, suggesting the Air Force was caught off guard too. No records confirm this, but the rumor persists. It's the kind of detail that makes you wonder what's the real cost of clarity and who decides what we're allowed to know. Before we wrap this up, let's hear from you. Do you think it was flares? Or does the official story feel off? Maybe you've got a theory of your own. Drop it in the comments. The truth, whatever it is, starts with asking questions. So we've got lights, witnesses, and answers that don't quite fit. What does it all add up to? Let's pull it together and see where the mystery leaves us. So here we are, standing at the edge of the Phoenix Lights mystery, with more questions than answers. On March 13, 1997, thousands in Arizona looked up and saw something unforgettable, lights that didn't belong, moving in ways that defied logic. But it's not just the lights that keep us hooked. It's the stories of those who felt frozen, lost time, or carried an unease they couldn't shake. It's the official explanations, flares, they said, that crumbled under scrutiny. And it's the silence, the gaps, the things we may never know. What really happened that night? Let's recap the threads we've pulled. We started with a city gripped by awe, witnesses from all walks of life describing a presence in the sky. Then came the chilling accounts. Missing hours, vivid dreams, a sense of being watched. Lives changed in the aftermath, with some avoiding the topic altogether, like it was too heavy to touch. And when answers finally came, they felt hollow. Flares? Maybe. But why the delays, the contradictions, the dismissal of so many voices? Could it have been a test, a mistake, or something we're not ready to name? This isn't about landing on a truth, it's about daring to ask. What if those lights weren't just a trick of the eye? What if some witnesses brushed against something bigger, something that left a mark? The Phoenix Lights remind us how fragile our grip on reality can be. One night, one sky, and suddenly the world feels a little less certain. Isn't that why we keep circling back, decades later, still chasing the unknown? Here's where you come in. What do you think was up there? Have you ever felt the weight of a moment you couldn't explain? Share your thoughts, your stories, in the comments. Let's keep this mystery alive. And if this video made you question the sky a little more, hit that subscribe button and join us for more dives into the unknown. The next story might be even stranger. Until then, keep looking up.